Being a man in today's challenging world is hard, and I'm going to tell you what it takes to survive. You will become a man when you figure out that no one is coming to save you. You're going to walk away like you always have. So how does that sit with you? You are called to be a provider and a protector of your family, and it's supposed to be hard. That's what makes you a man. Who does this affect if I fail? Is that big enough for you to step up and become the man that you're meant to be? God is calling for men to take action. God is calling for you to take a stand. I know how you feel. You're scared, you're lost, and don't know what to do or where to turn to. And I know because I was lost too. And I didn't have someone to turn to. And becoming a man wasn't easy. But I want to help. And I want you to have someone to turn to that's been through what you're going through. Welcome to Over the Edge. My name is John Hernandez. And this is the podcast where we tackle faith, family, relationships, careers, and personal growth. And we'll dive into life's lessons, controversial topics, and current events with raw, unfiltered conversations that are honest, real, and straight to the point. Let's get into it. You're about to find out what it takes to be a man and be the man that you're supposed to be. Let me tell you what changed my life. When I was 22, my wife got pregnant and we lived in a one-bedroom apartment in a rough neighborhood. And I was living paycheck to paycheck, and I knew I had to do something, and I didn't know what it was. I had no clue, but what I did know is that it was going to be a lot of work. My dad walked out on us when I was 3, and our broken home was a disaster. And now I'm 38, and I've been married for 16 years. I have 3 beautiful children, and if I could do it, trust me, you could do it. And the reason I could say that is because looking back at my younger self, I would have never have thought I'd be where I'm at today. And you will have your story also. Now, the number one thing that you need to know, and it's the most important thing, and this is what's going to keep you on track, keep you motivated, and keep you headed in that right direction. And this is what's going to make you work harder and harder than you ever have before. But without this, it's difficult and you're going to fail. And it has to be big enough so that you can't fail. It all boils down to this one question. And the question is who does this affect if I fail, right? So who does it affect if you fail? Now, I want you to picture them, right? And think about all the struggles they're going through now and the struggles that they're going to encounter in the future, right? This has to be your number one reason why. And let me ask you this. Is it big enough? Is that big enough for you to step up and become the man that you're meant to be? And if not, then click off this podcast. It's not for you. This message is either going to hit you where it hurts and inspire change, or you're going to walk away like you always have and continue down your current path. But I really hope that you continue listening, because I was you, and it doesn't have to be this way. Now, if you're still listening, let's have a serious conversation about the changes you need to make to become that man you want to be, and the man your family needs you to be. So the first thing we're going to talk about is spiritual maturity and faithfulness. And I want you to listen to this Bible verse, and we're going to talk about how it hits home. When I was a child, I spoke like a child, I thought like a child, and I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I gave up my childish ways. I'm about to tell you something, and I want you to know that I've been here too. Some of y'all are still doing the same things that y'all been doing since you were kids, like hanging out with bad influences and friends and drinking or smoking, partying, and doing all kinds of childish activities that keep you where you are. Now, let me tell you my story on this subject and what triggered my breaking point. When my daughter was about 3 to 4 years old, I went back to one of my friend's house, and I wanted to introduce him to my wife, to my family, and my daughter, right? And I don't know why I expected anything different, but when I stepped into that house, it's like I took a time machine back to high school, because it was the same people doing the same things that we were doing in high school. And right there, I had a big realization that I didn't want my child to grow up in this environment, let alone I didn't want her to even know that type of environment. You have to learn to let go of immaturity and take responsibility and grow in wisdom and understanding. And it was that day that I took one step closer to maturity. I took responsibility, removed my family from that situation, and I never went back. And that's where my wisdom and understanding started to grow. Now, let's get into topic number 2, strength and courage. Now, let's read this Bible verse. Be watchful, stand firm in the faith, act like men, be strong, let all you do be done in love. So what does that mean? For me, it means that as a man, I need to keep my eyes open, right? For the good, the bad, and the ugly. And also keep my eyes open for what's right and the things that are going to move me forward and closer to becoming a man under God, in God's eyes. You have to have conviction, faith in yourself, and faith in God's plan. It says, act like a man. It says, be strong. You have to believe that you're strong, and you have to know that you're strong and have the courage in yourself. Now, the next one is huge, and it ties these together. Number 3 is about responsibility and leadership. It is your responsibility as a man to provide for your family and be a leader. Now, listen to what this Bible verse says. But if anyone does not provide for his relatives, and especially for members of his household, he has denied the faith and is worse than the unbeliever. So how does that sit with you? I hope that that strikes a chord and hits you where it hurts. As a man, you are called to be a provider and a protector of your family and to ensure their well-being. Are you doing that? In this day and age, I know it's hard. And the honest truth is, it's always been hard. And it's supposed to be hard. That's what makes you a man. The problem we're seeing in today's society with men failing to be the men that God intended for them to be is this. You don't want to work for it. You think somebody owes you something. Somebody else is taking care of you, and you have not had a fight to survive. You will become a man when you figure out that no one is coming to save you. This is how the cycle works. Tough times create strong men, and strong men create easy times. Easy times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. And the cycle continues. So where do you think we are today? Right now, we're in the cycle where easy times are creating weak men, and weak men are starting to create hard times. And I know you can see it. I know you see the light. Now let's look at our previous generations and look at all the men that have been through tough times and have struggled and overcome and where they are today, right? Let's look at like people that went through World War II and people that went through the Great Depression. These are some of the most hardworking, successful people that you've ever met in your life. And they're in our family. Look around you. Look at your aunts, uncles, your grandparents. Look at what they went through, how they were raised, how they raised their kids. That's the reason why. Everybody has everything at the grasp of their fingertips, and they don't know the struggle, the hard work, and the things that other people have been through to be where they are today. This is what makes a strong man. It's what you've been through, what you've overcome, and what you fought through. So becoming a man is learning to embrace the struggle and to go through things, overcome them, work hard. Only then will you achieve manhood. Now, this brings us into our next topic, and it's work ethic and diligence, right? So let's read this Bible verse. It says, whatever you do, work heartily, as if for the Lord and not for men. Work like you're working for God. How amazing is that? Just think about the impact. Think about what that really, really means. Just imagine that God were right here on earth and you got hired by him. How would you work if you knew that was God? you'd be busting your tail. You'd be the hardest worker out there because you know who you're working for. That's how God tells us to work. He says to work like you're working for Him. One of the reasons you need to work hard is not only for yourself, right, to become a man, but it's also to be an example for your family and for your kids. You have to lead by example. Hard work is just consistency. Keep working hard, keep getting up, and keep moving forward. That's all it is. Baby steps forward. One of my favorite quotes is by Martin Luther King, and he says this: if you can't fly, then run. And if you can't run, then walk. And if you can't walk, then crawl. But by all means, keep moving. Success is baby steps forward, little by little. Just work on getting 1% better each day. Read one chapter of something that makes you better, something you like, whatever it may be, the Bible, real estate, financial services, personal development, right? If you read one chapter a day, that's 365 chapters a year. Being a man is hard work, but it's that hard work that makes you a man and earns you your self-worth. We got to understand that God made us with a purpose, and men and women are different. A woman wants a man that they know would lay their life on the line for them. They want to feel protected. They want to feel secure. They want to know that they're married to somebody that's going to provide and to do everything it takes to move their family ahead. So if you don't work hard, how could you have any self-worth? How could you make a woman feel that you're going to take care of her, that you're going to be a provider, that you're going to sacrifice your life for your family? One of the biggest things that we need to realize and have under control is self-control and discipline. As a man, you need to exercise self-control over your emotions, your actions, and your desires. The lack of these principles will break you. You need to dig deep and understand that self-control and discipline is the key principle that will drive your action. If you're tired, get up anyways. Stick to your schedule, no matter what. Build resilience. This resilience is going to build your character. You also have to learn to prioritize. You have to learn to say no and only do things that are going to drive your motives and goals forward. And this is important. This is where we got to go back to our why, right? We got to go back to that one thing that is our motivator that prevents us from failure, right? Because we have to control ourselves and we have to be disciplined. Whenever you feel that you're having a shortcoming, go back to your reason why. Who does this affect if I fail? By going back and understanding why you're doing this will help you stay in control and help you stay disciplined. Now, when you start making these changes, it's going to be a huge weight off your shoulders. You're going to have a sense of relief, mental clarity. You're going to have, your stress reduced, and it's going to change the way you perceive reaching and achieving your goals and becoming a man. And that's because self-control and discipline is something that you could feel. And that feeling becomes addictive and reassurance that you're headed in the right direction. And lastly, a true man is rooted in seeking God first and trusting that everything will fall into place. Matthew 6:33 says, "But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you." Becoming a man, according to the Bible, is about embracing responsibility, leading with love, and walking with integrity, and staying strong in your faith. It's not just about the physical growth, but about spiritual and moral maturity. I'm glad you stuck around to the end. If this content was valuable and brought value to your life, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone you love. And join us next time as we go over the edge together. Y'all have a blessed day.